new study just released by the CDC shows the skyrocketing levels of lead during the LA fires.
We have talked a lot about air quality, and many of you have asked us about it. Now we do have some answers. This all comes from a testing site 14 miles south of the Eaton Fire burn zone and about 35 miles east of the Palisades fire.
Our Denise Dodor is joining us now live in studio with more on the details here. Denise?
Well, you know, we've been asking these questions over and over throughout the fires. Air quality experts warned us toxic chemicals such as lead were likely present in the air. We just didn't have a way to measure it. Now, a new CDC study shows that for several days during the wildfires, lead levels just south of the Eaton Canyon fire area increased roughly 110-fold. That's compared with levels from a few days earlier. They have since returned to normal. To figure this out, researchers used a new air quality measuring network, which provides real-time measurements of the chemicals found in the fine particulate matter. Unlike conventional wildfires, the Eaton and Palisades fires ignited homes with pipes, vehicles, plastics, and electronics and paint. Many of the structures burned were built before 1978, when use of leaded paint was still common. Generally, the concern with lead is chronic long-term exposure. As for this short-term exposure, scientists are not clear how this might impact human health. Dr. Raj Dasgupta, a lung expert, describes what acute exposure could do.
When lead levels are that high, I always worry about the lungs first, the inhalational damage that could happen. Lead can be very toxic to the airways, but of course, if you have pre-existing lung disease like asthma, like COPD, it could irritate it.
Symptoms might include coughing, wheezing, shortness of breath, even fatigue and dizziness. New steps are being taken to ensure the air is safe to breathe for people who live near the burn scars of the Palisades and Eaton fires. The South Coast Air Quality Management District is setting up 2 testing sites, one near the Altadena Golf Course and one near Will Rogers State Beach. CDC researchers point out that airborne lead levels alone do not measure the total level of exposure a person might have in the environment. And again, it's not clear how this very short-term exposure might affect adults, but it's worth noting there is no known safe level of lead exposure for children. So at least we're getting some answers, and maybe in the future there will be ways to measure this so we know when the exposure is happening.
Sure, smelling the smoke and ash is one thing, and then you got the headaches. So many of us that were impacted. It's frightening, right?
It is.
Okay, Denise, thank you.
Hello, I'm Mark Brown. Get more great ABC7 content by clicking the subscribe button for our YouTube channel, and download the ABC7 Los Angeles streaming app on Fire TV, Android TV, Apple TV, and Roku to watch on your TV.